And we're live. Welcome to the Gordox Pub, where everything we make with our hearts. I'm only saying this because you had to cancel the last stream because of my heart. Sorry.
Well, I didn't tell anybody why I canceled it. I just said it was an emergency. So
Well, I know. I'm just letting anyone
I
know.
wouldn't do that to you without talking to you first.
I don't care. I mean, it's nice of you that you would check, but yeah, I don't care. I'll say it. It was my heart.
Well, yeah, if you say it, that's one thing. It's your prerogative, but it could be something that you wanted to keep to yourself. I don't blame you.
Could be. I agree. I understand. So I appreciate it. So tonight we are looking at doing some of the actual interior art from the opening that we've already done the layouts for. Now we're actually going to get into the real product.
Yeah, I can almost quote overkill. Welcome to the gutter. That's an inside joke. For anybody that doesn't realize what that means, is I'm drawing the gutters between panels.
So my former department chair, he would tell a joke at lunch, and then there was one woman he would always explain them to. It was like a rebound joke.
It was like a mansplain.
Kinda, yeah. Just, implying that she was kind of dumb, which she wasn't, but it was just kind of funny to, it's one of those things you do.
You can pick on her.
Because I think one day she was like, when you explain something, it doesn't make it more funny. Which
and you were like, the rest of us, it does.
Yeah. That was the wrong play. What you hope and pray is that whatever's bothering you, if you ignore it long enough, it'll go away. So you just hope and pray. But you definitely don't complain about it. That's just crazy talk.
I guess, yeah, there's an unspoken rule when we were growing up that if you really were self-conscious about something and you let your friends know, they're going to make sure you're not self-conscious over it anymore.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the time it's finished.
Oh well. I've been watching these videos, like they've been popping up on YouTube Reels or Shorts, whatever they're called, and it's some guy roughly our age talking about Gen X and how we don't care and we don't have feelings and we don't all this stuff, and everyone else needs to just get over it, basically. It's kind of what we do now.
Yeah, back in the day, we were just you either get over it or
Because if you
very, very, very every time you're around that.
Yeah. Well, because you knew damn well if you admitted to it, it was going to happen even more. So, you know.
One of our friends had a issue with admitting he was uncircumcised or something.
Okay.
Like it was one of those weird things where nobody really asked.
He just brought it up?
Yeah, it just brought it up. Like, it's drinking underage, talking about stupid shit, I guess.
I guess.
And by the end of that summer, he'd had enough turtleneck jokes, and he'd had so many different jokes that have been played on him that he wasn't insecure anymore, and nobody could say anything worse than we had.
Well, yesterday I went to the library and discovered a few things. Number one, my library card had been expired. So now it's not, which is fine. Not like it cost me anything. And basically, I just kind of got out of it during COVID, I think. Never went back. But I got the Lies of Locke Lamora.
Yeah.
So I'm still reading that. I looked for that Metro 2033, and I don't have anything by the guy.
Yeah, but you were pretty sure they weren't because you knew why.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that made it more likely that they weren't going to have it. Now the Lies of Locke Lamora, which I haven't gotten into a whole bunch yet, I haven't had that much time. Honestly, I'm a little upset with it, just because I feel like so far, like there's so much like I've read it, or I've written a story like this, and not that I'm saying he plagiarized, because I'm not. I'm not making that claim at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, it's probably pretty old.
Yeah, I have no idea. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, that would probably explain why I'm not, selling that particular story, because it'd be way too easy to say it's a knockoff of this. I was like, well, shit. So
right.
Whatever. And it's not quite the same thing as when you get a book, you're like, how the hell did this get published? It's not like that at all. But
yeah, that came out in 06.
06?
Yeah.
Before I wrote my stuff. Of that particular type, at least. And it sucks. I don't know how else to put it, but it sucks. Because I would like to be able to publish. I guess I got to figure out something new.
You have a what?
It's just one of those things where I guess it proves why you should be reading a lot, but I was reading. I just didn't read that. So, whatever.
Yeah, you mean reading widely in the genres that you're publishing in or whatever. That's ironic, because if you can't read widely enough to cover it all. You'd have to be like a speed reader, like a record holding speed reader.
Oh yeah, I think I saw something about. I think Martin Shoemaker was doing something, presenting something tonight about story shapes or something, or maybe he's doing a story in an hour. I don't remember if he's doing it. Or he was going to do it tonight.
Not 1,000 ideas in an hour, is it?
I don't think so. Yeah. Let's see. If I can find it on something quickly, I will. Not that I want people to go over there, but whatever. Martin's
What's that?
a pretty cool guy. I said not that I want people to run over to wherever he is, but Martin Shoemaker's a pretty cool guy. So I find it interesting that he's doing stuff.
Yeah, I thought you kind of taken a liking to him.
Well, that seems nice. I mean,
We've talked about him quite a bit.
why not? Okay. Of course, I can't find it tonight. Of course not.
What's that?
I'm not finding anything. Oh, here we go. All right. So this is what they're doing, just so you know. And it started half an hour ago. It's the inaugural episode of the Instant Story Hour. This week's lovely and talented assistant is Writers of the Future Golden Pen winner Jack Nash. The event will be online, and Jack will read some of his fiction, and I'll dictate a story live. So, anyway, might be a few people there. Or not.
Yeah, I don't know if we cross over that much.
Have you ever read Sword of Shannara?
I I think so, a long time ago. But the one I remember most uh, by title is Elfstones.
Yeah, I think that was the better of the two. Honestly, it's basically the same story twice. I swear, but Elfstones was better. But I don't know. I've been thinking about that book lately, and I was like, I don't think that would. Like, at one point in time, that was like the number one fantasy book.
It's funny because I always heard it was a Tolkien ripoff.
Well,
right up until they started, doing interviews or whatever with Terry Brooks. Terry Brooks, right?
I believe so. Yeah. I don't know how well those books would hold up anymore. I don't even know if he's still writing.
Last I knew he was. He just put one out, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
He's changed the whole. I don't know. He's changed the whole mythology to it.
Oh yeah.
Since they did they did Shannara Chronicles or the show,
right? Which is kind of funny because that should be a show I enjoyed, but I really couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I had some problems getting into it as well.
Did you watch any of The Acolyte?
No.
Yeah. I
don't know why people keep asking me that. I haven't watched Star Wars in a long time. They've done me wrong too many times.
I was hoping it might be good, but so far, no.
Like I said, I don't know why. I've been asked that a couple of times actually, but
now again, part of this could be, inertia, and it was already approved and it's in the works, whatever. But yeah, it really, really seems like they don't want me watching it, and that's just like, all right. I mean, whatever. I don't think that they have to cater to my tastes, but if I'm going to watch it, they have to cater to my tastes.
Well, they don't have to necessarily cater to my taste. They got to stop pulling the bullshit they've been pulling.
Well, I mean, if you're going to watch it, you want something that you like. And I should like
right.
Star Wars.
Well, what I'm saying is I like Star Wars whether it catered to my taste or not, but when goes completely the opposite of catering to my taste, like trying to alienate me. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I don't
Like, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not using the catering to my taste that way because I've Star Wars the first time was a new experience for me. I didn't have a taste to cater to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then I've watched so many different fantasy movies and so many different, like, initially I probably wouldn't have liked Ring of Fire as much as I did when I watched it over a couple times. It didn't cater to my taste because it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. But then as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, that. What else would it have done?
Well, I tried to go into the Acolyte with an open mind because sometimes you see these, there are people on YouTube who make money, just bad mouthing everything.
Oh yeah, and you have a lot more of an open mind going into it than I would have anyway.
But like I had already noticed in the trailer when they showed those younglings, there's like one white boy in the entire room. I'm not even sure if it's a white boy. Like, it might have only been like a white girl.
But we don't care about that so much.
Yeah. And it was mostly female, like by a large margin. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I kind of already seen that. I was kind of already, I guess, biased against it in a way, but I was trying not to be. I'm going through and it's like, white men can't be force sensitive? What? There were no. Eventually, they got to like two white guys that are in the Jedi Order and they're stupid. One of them dies quickly and stupid. And I'm like, because okay, whatever. I watched, like, they're showing just the street scene. And I'm like, are there any men on this planet? Like, I kid you not. It was that female centric. And then at one point in time, one of the characters, so the main character of the thing, her old Jedi Master has a different Padawan who's female, and whatever, I don't care. I'm just setting this up, and they show this kind of.
I said already that we don't really care about color or gender.
I know, but
it's only when they make it that way.
Just hear me out, though. Like, this all factors in, I promise. And they have shown a Jedi Order that is very military-like, like permission to speak freely and all that stuff, and the main character's old Jedi Master is a master. There's this other character who's a Jedi Knight. Okay, still Jedi, not a Padawan, Jedi Knight, so whatever. So at one point in time, the Jedi Knight is taking orders from the Padawan.
What?
Like, well, hold on. Excuse me. How does that work? Like, you've just shown us the Jedi Order is, at this point in time, apparently very strict, very regulated, very, very much a hierarchy, with a woman on top, apparently. I don't know where Yoda is, so who knows? Whatever. But then they go and show this Jedi Knight taking orders from a Padawan. But that just doesn't make sense. Except for to show that, Padawan's female, so that's why she gets to be, there's there's like one situation going on, and so the Jedi Master asks the Jedi Knight what they should do. The Jedi Knight goes through with whatever the normal procedure would be, which of course, that's the wrong answer. No, no, no. All these procedures that have been, in place for who knows how many centuries. No, no, no. That's not the correct thing to do. Instead, let's listen to this idea by the Padawan. And it's just like, okay, men are relatively stupid. It's white men in particular are incredibly stupid, and it's just, I'm just like, what? Like, how do you think this is inclusive? Like, you can still be exclusive just because you're a minority. You're excluding the majority. You can do that. But to say that you're being inclusive and inclusivity matters, I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter to you at all. You plan on excluding people, and you're happy to do it. You think that that's some kind of virtuous thing, and it's not. Like, it's cool. Have strong female characters, but also have strong male characters. Have weak female characters and have weak male characters. It's all good. So, I don't know. I would say The Acolyte is the epitome of everything that's been wrong with Disney.
That's pretty powerful.
Well, I haven't watched whatever the Marvels, whatever that last, Captain Marvel 2 without, it had Captain Marvel in it, but yeah, she got.
Oh, the Marvels are all like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel used to be Miss Marvel when actually Captain Marvel was a guy. But, that was way back when. Yeah. And it was okay to have a Mrs. Marvel.
I would just like to see Rogue come in and just steal all of her power and kill her. That's what happens in the comics. Well, basically what happens in the comics. That would be fantastic.
Well, not if what I just saw on Facebook has any indication of what they're going to do with Rogue.
Oh, yeah? What'd you see on Facebook?
Apparently, the people of Marvel want to make Miley Cyrus Rogue. I'm like, who the hell is going to believe that no guy can touch Miley Cyrus? It's way too late. That bird's flown, crash landed, rolled up in a ball, burnt to crisp.
She's got the right accent, though, for it. I mean, she's supposed to be a Southern girl. So. That might be. It's not a terrible idea.
Who's going to believe she's depressed because no guy can touch her? Well,
that's not as far out as what.
I just found out I didn't really plug my shit in.
No.
Well, if I don't want my laptop dying, I got to plug it in. That was a hint at somebody.
You mean your audience was more than just the people you're talking to?
What's that?
Your audience was more than just the people you're talking to?
Yeah. Well, it's still my audience. I just was aiming at a particular audience member.
All right. It's one of the things that it was kind of hard to get AP students to ever learn is that just because you're saying something to one group doesn't mean that that's your only audience.
So no, I understood that, but anyone that heard me say that probably already knows that I'm correcting a child.
What the? So, yesterday my wife was updating her resume, and she wanted me to look at it. All right, so she sends it to me, and I'm like, "Well, your education thing's wrong. What's wrong with it? Like, it had all of her education." I was like, "The end's a window. The end on education is on its online. Like, you need to put it back where it was. I don't know how it got cut off, but it did." And so she sent me a picture of it printed off, and it was perfectly fine. I was like, "Okay, that's weird." But then when you were telling me that my page numbers aren't always at the top of the pages, I'm like,
Right.
well, I was like, "Yeah, they are. Like, I can see it right here." I'm like, "But I think it's this. Like, my screen looked. I was manually doing it, and so my screen looked one way, and it isn't necessarily transferring it." That's just like on the novel. Google Docs was saying I was like on page 31 or something like that, and before Sunday, like that's what I wanted to. That was the end of a chapter. So I guess it was 31 pages long. When I put it on in Word, it went back to 28. I was like, "What the hell?" So I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong or how I'm messing up the formatting, but it's not intentional right now.
All right. Well, that just means that I'm going to have to look at each page.
No, I've already figured out, I think, how to fix things after the next one.
It just makes it harder when like some stuff is underlined. Like I would rather have the page number stick out as a separate page than to have the panel stick out and not the page number. But that's why I said, like, just put the page number in bold so I can't miss it. And that should solve the problem. Because that's basically what my problem is with it. Is that I'm looking, and then the pages and where the page number is supposed to be, and I'm seeing the panels are underlined, but the page is like almost blending in with the next one, and it's something if I would read more crucially instead of trying to just look at it at a glance. But I'm trying to look at it at a glance and make a plan as I'm seeing it at a glance, you know.
Right. What?
Oh, I'm overhearing my son's conversation on the phone.
Oh.
And sometimes it's like he wants something a certain way. So his answer is, no, it's okay to do it that way. Like somebody else is like, no, I've got to work. I can't do that. No, it's okay. You can do it. No, it's not okay. You can't do it if you can't do it. He said, you messed that up. Whoop. You can't hear his conversation, can you?
Not. I mean, I can hear him, but I can't quite make it out.
He was just saying, don't pick booger. Don't pick booger.
Oh, nice.
So I decided to change the layout a little bit,
How
obviously.
dare you?
So one of the reasons is because I was watching McFarlane critique, like Todd McFarlane critique somebody's stuff,
Yeah.
and he was like, his pet peeve is crap.
His pet peeve is crap.
No, we've talked about it before. I'm just it's on the tip of my tongue type of thing. Well, it's where lines could be something else.
Oh yeah, yeah. When they kind of merge. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really merging, but it's like the silhouettes merge enough to confuse. Or
Right.
he was talking about like there's a kind of team shot where this big guy's running forward and this woman is flying in the background, but since her toes can't really be seen,
Yeah.
they're cut off by the big guy's back. It almost looks like she could be standing on his back.
That's not intentional.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be flying behind him.
Yeah. Oh.
For some reason, I can't think of the name of it now.
I know what you're talking about.
Damn it! Like you go off on a tangent.
There you go.
Because to me, the original usage for me wasn't that.
Well, it's not for me either. So, I know what you're talking about.
You want to make sure that remember when I was telling you, like, one of the things that I wanted to do while I was planning this out was to plan out where the contrasts were.
Yes.
Because so it doesn't look like these people are holding hands. This guy's got to be more shadowed, so it doesn't. This guy's not as shadowed. So, you can see that they're separate things and they're not literally running into each other.
Yeah.
So, by watching that stuff, I decided that a couple of changes need to be made on the first page. Whereas these two panels are the same size, pretty much.
Yeah.
The characters can't be the same size, because if this guy's the same size in this panel, there's no variation. Your eyes will get bored.
Okay.
Even though they're supposed to be moving closer. So I've actually given thought into moving it up forward one so that there's not two scenes of a party. There's her and him, and then maybe that blowing the kiss can happen right here. And then, this scene can be the kind of meme-like scene. And this one, him just following her, so. But it also, that way it's him and her on most of this panel, whereas it's him, her.
Yeah, you're off screen.
There's, him, her. There's a couple right here.
Yep.
There's a person here, and then I've got to fill, a couple more here. Which still got to leave room for your captions.
Okay.
And then this one, if I do the kiss blown as she's walking towards him, like really close here. And then that's a pretty good space to do him turning one direction and her crossing his path. And then just him following her. Just him, looking a little starstruck. It tells the same story, and there's not a whole lot of there's not really any dialogue, so and the caption's not very big, so leaves me room to play with a lot of artistic interpretation, I guess.
Okay.
So that's why I'm making some changes. I also wanted to make some changes so that there's some costuming going on here too.
Where you buy that for? Number. For him? The car. You like that? She a bigger car. That cool.
They're having discussions about where he can get Legos.
Oh.
Because it's his aunt that bought his cousin some Legos for his birthday. And so he's all like, where do you get the Legos at?
How's the stepdog?
Oh, I'm about ready for him to go home. He's woken me up. Like, he was pretty well behaved and standoffish and all this. And now apparently he's got comfortable because not only has he woken me up with barking, and he's barking at everything all the time now. And he's like got a deep guttural bark. But he's stealing food now. She made hamburgers and went outside to get the hot dogs and fucking snagged a hamburger off the plate. Now that meant he got up on the stove to do that. And then she was fixing the step, and I had Eli out at the store, and we were getting something from the store. She went out for the step, and she was getting ready to do garlic bread, and when she went out for the step, the dog licked the friggin' garlic butter off the bread. So that pissed Eli off because he calls it Google bread, and you better have Google bread if you're having spaghetti.
Oh, that's funny. We put the cat food up like higher. They're both higher, so the dog doesn't have as good of access to it. But I was talking to my wife in the living room, and I looked over, and there's the dog. She's standing on the dresser where the cat's food is, and she's got to the food, and she's eating it. And, I snapped at her. She looked at me like, oh, but come on, it tastes so good.
Right.
But she got down. Slowly. She kind of slinked away. It's like, yeah, you better go.
I actually kneed the dog in the jaw earlier. I wasn't trying to, but
oh, I hate it when our dog will walk so close to you that when you put your heel up.
It wasn't really that. It was I was trying to serve Eli food, and he was he was coming in like he was going to intercept it, and I put my knee up to block him just as he darted forward, so he got kind of kneed in the bottom of the jaw. And you feel like an asshole for doing it, but on the other hand, you're like, no, you're the asshole. You made me do it. So I wasn't punishing him. I was just trying to block him from getting more of our food tonight.
Yeah.
Eli would have not been happy had that dog stole the food.
Okay, hold on, back here. Good, stay back here, slow down. Good, good, slow down. Back to the train. Maybe a minute more. Good. Good. One, outside. One, two, so. Walk there. There. One walk there. Yeah, okay. Okay. Going well? Back off? Five? Yep.
So
You can? That way?
my wife and son were playing Wheel of Fortune on the. I think it's on the Switch.
Where you go?
Yeah, it's on Switch. I'm thinking of the controller. Definitely on the Switch.
Yep.
But I was coming downstairs, and as I'm about to enter the living room, my wife says,
Bye.
"Rate Booker."
Just here.
That was what she was telling my son was the answer. And I looked around the corner and I look at it, and I'm positive it's not her answer, but I'm like, I don't think it's that, but it could be Ripe Booker. And then my son guessed that it was Rice Cooker, which is fine. But I was like, they shouldn't do that. Like, if I was, unless there's a rule that you can't. But because my wife said one answer, it kind of made my brain think of a similar answer. And I think you could misdirect your opponents. And also, you can give some really terrible answers, and it could be really funny. So, I think they might be missing something on that show. I actually called my mom up because she's watched Wheel of Fortune since it started, I think. So I was like, you ever see something like this happen? She said, no. I was like, do you think there are any rules about it? She's like, I don't think there are any that I've ever heard of. So I know I've seen it before where audience members have yelled out an answer and that like disqualified the thing or whatever, but
That sucks.
I was trying to explain to my children about how it used to be that after you won, you went shopping. And, they would have those displays that kind of swung out. They'd go through all the things that are in it that, and the person would have to spend their winnings there. And my boys were like, I think at first they thought I was making it up. Well, that's literally how it used to be. I think that was before Pat Sajak, though.
Before Pat Sajak?
Yeah. Or at least during the day.
I don't think I knew of it before Pat Sajak.
Let's look at the history. Yeah, the network version was originally hosted by Chuck Woolery and Susan Stafford. Woolery left in 1981 and was replaced by Sajak.
Okay. That would be why I didn't know of it, because I wasn't watching that shit in 1981.
Sajak was replaced in the daytime by Rolf Bernishke, who was in turn replaced by Bob Goen when the network show moved to CBS. Stafford left in 82 and was replaced by who's that? I'm skipping around too much. Oh, Susan Stafford was replaced by that one woman. Vanna White, that's who. Yeah.
Weren't they talking about having her replace Pat Sajak?
No. I'm saying that Susan Stafford left in 1982.
No, I said, weren't they saying that they were talking about Vanna White replacing Pat Sajak when he left?
Oh, I don't think so, because I think she's left.
I think that's why, because she wanted that position and didn't get it or something.
Oh no, I guess she's. According to Wikipedia, Ryan Seacrest will replace Pat Sajak this year, but Vanna White will remain on the show. Interesting. I mean, it's not that interesting because it's Wheel of Fortune. Let's face it. Show's older than I am. Yeah, my mom has watched Wheel of Fortune. Like, when I was little and my mom was staying home with me, it was on during the daytime. I remember that. When it was on, she was watching it. And she has watched it in the evening since probably it started. I can't recall her ever not watching that show. Even when we only had one television, I'm pretty certain she watched that show. Like, that was guaranteed. That was Wheel of Fortune time. So, one of my sons, I won't say which one, said that
there's a 50-50 chance I could guess.
That's true, 50-50 chance. But I won't confirm or deny. So. But this evening confessed to me that he really enjoys the song Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, like whatever, you can like whatever you want. And he was listening to like an 80s station on Spotify or something. And so it came on, and that's what he said, that he really liked it. But then Karma Chameleon came on, and he fast forwarded through it. I was like, what the hell? Like, that's a good song. And he's like, no, it's not. It's trash. I'm like, how do you like Girls Just Want to Have Fun, but then you have no appreciation for Karma Chameleon? I just don't get it.
Well, Girls Just Want to Have Fun is actually sung by a girl.
That's true. That is true. Karma Chameleon is not actually sung by a chameleon.
Or a girl.
Not supposed to be.
Even though it's dressed like a girl.
Yeah, back when that was edgy.
Oh, yeah, edgy. That's what it is. Someone asked him in an interview if he was bisexual, and he's like, of course, all love's good love.
No. Uh,
I'm grateful that those days are gone.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, most of what you're drawing is not in the camera.
Well, the problem with that is it's 11 by 14 sheet, so
I'm just letting you know.
I'm already like, if I was drawing this without being on camera,
Yeah.
I would have this on my big clipboard and up tilted on my lap
Sorry.
because I'm, like, so 11 by 17 inches goes about halfway through my bicep from my middle finger. So it's already it's already
What more?
Nope.
It happened.
After all that, we don't even have a viewer.
Yeah, one.
You?
No, that's not me. That's our secret viewer.
Oh,
By the way, that's currently not focused. That's better. So the other night, I had this wonderful moment of just terror. I don't know why, but I was looking at the contest requirements for the not our favorite one, but the Bane Fantasy Award. That's it. Because I submitted
what?
the Bane Fantasy Adventure Award.
Oh, Bane.
Yeah. And I had submitted to it this year. It's my first time I've ever submitted to it. And whatever. And I was just looking to see, because I think the science fiction one was announced. The winner of that was announced. But not the fantasy one yet. Anyway. So I'm going through and I'm thinking, oh God, it asked for an RTF. I was like, I don't think I did an RTF. But then I looked. Nope, I did. I did an RTF. All right. And I was like, oh, I don't think I submitted that on time. Like, I thought it was May 30th. It says it closed on April 30th. But I went and looked. I had submitted before April 30th. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I didn't completely screw that up. But for some reason, I really had this feeling first that my file type was wrong, and then the next one was that I just missed the deadline. I don't know what it was that just got me spooked. But it did. Thing. I'll be right back. I gotta check something. Got an odd notification. Be right back. I promise. Won't be long. I'm back. Got a weird message that someone had a new login from Hulu. And I'm like, what the hell do you mean I have a new login from Hulu? Because I couldn't think of any devices that were new, so that should get a new login. Then I remembered my son broke his Chromebook. So that was probably what it was, and that's what it is. YouTube rejected one of my comments.
It did?
Yeah. I posted, "What is Rich drawing? Wrong guesses only." That was fine. Then I posted, "I'll start." And I said, "Fire alarm at an Eyes Wide Shut party." And it blocked that one. Twitch was good, though. How in the world, because they think it's spam, if it's coming from... That literally makes no sense.
Probably the word party.
All right, well, let me give you that comment. It's a rush on flat screens at a Best Buy on Black Friday. I know. Aha, YouTube. Can't block that one. I gotta find ways to amuse myself sometimes. Especially when I feel like YouTube is picking on me. You know those weird inflatable dancing guys they do around like a lot of like car dealerships that just like flop around like this? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I'm not looking at what you're doing, but I pretty much know what you're talking about.
Okay, good. So, way back when the boys were in car seats, I don't even know if Thaddeus was old enough to talk, which he talked late. But Whit, my older boy, saw one of those. He used to be terrified of those. Terrified. I don't know what it was about them, but the one gentleman with his arms up on the left of your thumb. Yeah, just reminded me of that.
Good. So it reminds you of a dancing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, good job. I mean, again, the whole what is Rich drawing? Wrong guesses only. I just find those kinds of things funny.
Yeah, well, you're not the one that's drawing, so.
I said wrong guesses only. Not right.
That's what I said. You're not the one who's drawing, so you would find it more amusing than the person who's trying to communicate something.
My boys got mad at me yesterday because they were playing. My son was playing Doom. I'm like, okay, and like an old version of Doom. And you know, granted, Doom's been around, I'm pretty sure, longer than my children. But I was like, what's
sure
the story?
too, because it's like one of the first 3D games, right? Like,
yeah.
Not even 3D, but it's
first person shooter type thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it was made originally like for the computer, but not for game systems, right?
Right, I think. And so, you know, he's playing, and I'm like, I was just kind of messing with him. I was like, you know what the real lore of this is, right? Like, you're not really on Mars fighting demons. You're really just you had some bad meth, and you're at the office. Those are your coworkers trying to stop you. And that's why you can, they're not really fighters. That's why you can kill so many of them. And my son's like, just stop it. You're taking all the joy out of this. I was like, okay. Not everything needs an edgy little theory. I was like, all right. Apparently, I had personally offended them by reinterpreting the graphics of Doom, I mean. Do you know who Caitlin Clark is?
No.
So, she was recently signed by the Indianapolis. I don't even remember. The problem is I don't care about sports. I really don't care about women's. The Indianapolis Fever signed Caitlin Clark. She had most points ever scored in the women's NCAA or something. I don't know. But she's white. Now people are all upset with her because
she's white.
Yeah, basically. But I don't know if it's the media. I don't know if it's because a lot of people are saying that the WNBA is more popular now than they've ever been. And a lot of people, they're showing, numbers of viewers because of Caitlin Clark and all this stuff. All right. But I got to thinking about it, and I was like, on Facebook, I've seen one meme about the NBA recently. And I've seen tons of stuff about the WNBA. And I'm like, okay, I don't care about either one really, but kind of weird that I have no idea what's going on in the NBA, but I have a lot more of an idea about the WNBA because the news is covering it a lot more. It's creeping into my normal reading stuff because I've never been one for the sports page, but it's popping up in other parts of the news. So it's kind of weird, and on Facebook and stuff like that. So And now that I've talked about it, it'll probably show up even more. But oh, well.
Well, that and you're said Indianapolis, so
Yeah.
you you have clearly supported Indiana and Indianapolis a few times, so
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they would be hitting you up with that kind of stuff.
I don't mind supporting Indianapolis. It's a good city. As far as cities go. I was trying to explain. So, in a week or so, my son has to go to this camp in New York for it's a medical camp thing. Like they go through autopsies and all this stuff, and you get scrubs for them, and all kinds of things. All right, whatever, fine. But it's in New York, and we looked at getting flights for him, and because the school that does this offers a shuttle, but you have to arrive at the airport between certain hours, and we could not get a flight for those hours. So we're going to have to drive, and we're not exactly sure how we're going to do that. Someone will stay home, but my wife is like, I don't want you driving in New York. And my son was like, I don't want you driving in New York either. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, do you know how angry you get when you're driving? I'm like, only if they drive poorly. If they drive well, it's wonderful. And they're like, whatever. Apparently everybody drives badly. No. And I was like, I asked my son, I was like, you know what a Chi-Town Louie is? And neither of my children knew what a Chi-Town Louie was. I felt kind of bad about that. So I explained what a Chi-Town Louie is. Which, if anyone's watching and doesn't know what a Chi-Town Louie is, it's when you're at a stoplight and you turn left when you don't have the right-of-way, but you basically gun it right as soon as the light turns green, you're going, and so you cross traffic before they can reach you. And that, to me, is beautiful driving. I'm like, no, you go to Chicago, and, like, they want to go. Like, if you're not moving when the light turns green, they're honking their horns. Like, they have somewhere to be, and they want to get there. It's like 465 around Indianapolis. Beautiful. Speed limit's 55. I think the normal driving speed is around 75, 80. Beautiful place. But we were in Ohio, and I swear, I don't know what it was. All of Ohio is under construction. That was annoying. But even when it's not under construction, you get these people who, like, they're turning right, so they stop and then turn right. It's like, what? Get out of the way! Just go. But, you know, my family gets mad because I'm yelling at them, and they can't. I'm yelling at the other driver, and the other driver can't hear it, but they can hear it. Just saying, if they drove better, whatever. Also, I feel like it's my job to make sure the children understand what's appropriate driving and what's not.
Funny how that's relative, huh?
What?
Appropriate driving. Appropriate driving is relative to who thinks it's appropriate.
Yep.
Some weird weather around here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gone from like fucking 85 degrees to rainy and 58 and in the course of an afternoon.
I have no idea what the weather is like anymore. 70 degrees and clear. That's what it says on my screen.
Yeah, it's 58 degrees here, and I'm not supposed to be clear all weekend.
I think it rained yesterday. Pretty hard.
Rain today for us, not really super hard, but it was just overcast enough to drop the temperature and the barometric pressure, you know.
It's always fun.
Yeah, always.
That's when, you get your old man ailments. Your knees start getting funky, and that's when my gout flares up. Is when you have those big swings.
Yeah, I don't know about gout so much, but because I'm diabetic, like everything, skin is thin, and the temperature, the pressure, well, I guess the heart has a little bit to do with that, the pressure
Right.
change. It's a real big deal for me sometimes.
Hey, it's Oversteer. How's it going? Oversteer said, "Hey, yo, sup, guys?" That was my best Oversteer impersonation. Having heard Oversteer, never.
Right.
Woo! That's also my impression. I'm just trying to give you the full feel of his comments. He also said he's unfortunately at school again. Oh, could be worse places. Although it's June 6th. Why are you at school again? Like, when do you guys get out of school? Do you guys get a summer break, or is it year round? What is that like? Says we're starting soon, so I might randomly leave, and it's a satellite. Okay. I would say there are worse things than school, but all right. I'm a little biased on that front.
You used to be.
Oversteer, this is actually a God, what did you call this, Rich?
Interior panel?
Interior panel. Thank you. So this is legit. This isn't just doing the... God, why am I not...
Well, this is the pencil. This is the pencil. It's the rough, but it's the pencil.
Okay, it's the pencils. It's the actual pencils. Layout.
That's the way and start all over again.
It's not the layout, right?
Right, it's not the layout. I'm tweaking the layout though.
Yes, comic
but
jargon.
that's what the layout's for, is so that you can see if it works or not. Or
I don't know what. I mean, that's not really jargony, but I mean, it's a little jargony, but not much. But could not think of the words. It's just like, it's something. Oh. So when will the comic be finished? I like how you laugh maniacally there, Rich. That's good. That's good. We don't know.
Since this is page 1 and we have about 7 pages of script so far, which we may end up condensing a little bit. Plus, every time we have to stop because of anything, like we've had days that we couldn't stream, and I'm trying to do this as much as I can on stream. So.
How many more pages can we expect to see?
We were talking about 44 to 50, right?
Sweet. I thought it was longer than that. I could do that ain't bad at all. Oh God.
Well, I mean, it depends. like on what we feel like, and if it feels like it's enough.
True.
But like really honestly, we were planning on maybe a double or triple regular comic issue because we were saying that a lot of the graphic novels that they've been doing in independent comics, they say that once you get up past 60 pages, it's hard to get those folds and to stay. So we don't want to do anything that would, you know.
So if you finish 3 pages a week, you've probably done a little less than 20 weeks. Well, that's, I mean, hypothetically, but that has not.
So I'm going to probably say it's not going to be 3 pages a week because I'm not doing this like a comic book artist does and drawing every day on it or whatever. I'm drawing 3 times a week on it. And so far it's been 2 hours and I've gotten most of one panel laid out. And that's not even the finishes. It's just a little bit better than, still rough pencils, but it's a little bit better than
Which reminds me, I sent you a message Sunday about guns. Because you had asked, do these people have guns?
Oh, yeah.
Did that make sense what I sent you?
Yeah, I think you're overthinking it, though. Like, so...
Actually, I don't think I am, but go ahead.
Not really, because you're saying some people do. Right? You're saying not everyone does, but some people do.
Yeah.
Well, that would probably be obvious if they have alternate weapons, you know what I mean? That not everybody had them.
Okay.
So, like, the short answer is yes, they do have guns, but not everybody does. They're not accessible to everybody. Right? So,
yeah,
what I was talking about was alternate non-lethal weapons. Actually, that's probably the best way to put it. We were talking about different kinds of weapons that we didn't have to worry about the lethality of guns or we're talking about like concussion weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Overseer, yeah, so the first, it's supposed to kind of be like a large street party. Bye, Overseer. Oh, goodness, I don't have to hide them anymore, or show them anymore. Ugh. My thoughts on the gun things was at least partially based on allowing you the freedom to do whatever you want.
All right, so both of us have read enough comic books to know, or we've seen.
I have not seen the new clip for Arcane Season 2. I managed to look that up and we're done.
So we both lived through the 90s comic scene, right?
Yeah.
Where Rob Liefeld took New Mutants and turned it into X-Force and
Yep.
Okay, so what gun did Rob Liefeld draw that looked like a real gun?
I can't think of any.
That's right. I don't think he's ever drawn a gun to look like a real gun.
Okay.
So, Todd McFarlane has drawn real guns, but they're cartoony because he doesn't care about getting the guns right.
Yep.
But Jim Lee nails pretty much every gun. Like if he's drawn an M16, it looks like an M16. If he's drawn an M60, it looks like an M60. It doesn't look like just some random space age kind of bullshit.
Okay.
Where do I stand? It depends. Like if we were doing something supposedly in this time period, I might be a little bit more particular on wanting the guns to be accurate.
Yeah.
But we're talking about futuristic, limited supplies, and so on. So, to me, it's much more interesting to kind of do the Liefeld thing because I'm not doing the Liefeld thing anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to cartoon like Liefeld does. Although that may change. I doubt it, but it might. Like it's his is a perfectly valid style because he's cartooning. And he's not trying to draw like accurate body shapes or whatever. He's trying to convey a story, action, and dynamism. And like when we were talking about McFarlane, which is kind of what led me to design Mastiff the way I did.
Yeah.
We were talking about McFarlane's taking Spider-Man and kind of treating him like a spider. Like, I mean, he's a man, obviously, but he does stuff with his arms and legs that men can't do. He does stuff with his fingers that really people can't do. But everybody forgives that because they know he's supposed to be more spider-like. And it's really good cartooning. So because he can tell that story in a really, really good way, we're not overly concerned with how accurate.
No burritos, no chips. There is ramen.
Anyway.
Somebody doesn't get burritos or chips.
I know! Or ramen. Or taquitos. But I got donuts, so I'm okay.
Eli's laying on the couch in my spot, sleeping. He's snoring. He's got his phone in his lap, flopped up like this.
Wow.
So it must not have been too long that he's been out.
wife has tried this thing this week with my son where she gives him $50 a day and he's got to basically feed us for that. Whatever's left over, he gets to keep. And so he's been, let's just say portions have been a lot smaller this week. And a lot of the things that, you know, like the snack staples you might have, he's not buying those. It's kind of an interesting little experiment.
That's why he wants to get ramen.
Well, we had a box of ramen, and it's all like today. We kind of reached this point in the week where, like, all of our popcorn is gone, all of the ramen is gone, all of the bread is gone. Like, just all the things that you kind of don't necessarily need for a meal per se, but you might just have, you know, get like a sandwich or something. And we've been going through all those things as the meals are getting smaller, the snacks are getting larger, and then now the snacks are all gone. So I was just saying, man, I was getting hungry.
And your wife's telling you there's nothing to eat?
Well, I sent a message to my wife saying that I'm gonna be hungry, and Facebook was just spinning, and you know, I was like, all right, whatever. And my phone didn't vibrate or anything, so I finally reset it just to see what was happening, if it would re-up or reload, and didn't know this. My wife had gone to Walmart and was asking me what I wanted, but I didn't know she'd ever left. So I never responded.
Oh, that's right.
So I was trying to answer her, what do I want? Because Walmart closes at 11 here.
Yeah, it does here too.
I can remember when
Like
we had
to the public. Like they're still open working, but they're close to the public.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing. So now that Facebook's running, I kind of scroll through it real fast. Ask Chuck Dixon, number 198. The future of comics is you. Who reads comics anyway? So I may have to look at that later.
Well, I like to watch it. I support Chuck.
Okay.
Not enough to buy the Ripper comics. Well, all right, so let me qualify that. The thing that sucks about that is that I've purchased 2 ISOM comics and was unsatisfied with both of them. And I don't have the money to spend $35 plus shipping to find out whether I'm going to like any of the other Ripperverse comics. So I'm already in $70 and didn't have a conclusion and don't really know anything more about the hero than I did before I spent anything. Now, I'm sure Chuck Dixon would give me a little bit more for my money, but he is also limited to what Eric will let him do with his character. And what the Saska sisters agreed to as the lore. So, if it was Chuck's own comic book that he created from scratch, I'd be all over it. He said the main cinematography or whatever, the main photos and cinematography for the Levon Cade movie, which Jason Statham is starring in. They've wrapped that up. So I'll be watching that. I'll support Chuck there. Of course, that's probably supporting Sylvester Stallone and whoever the director is. But, you know, it is Chuck Dixon's work, and if I put money towards work of Chuck Dixon's, they would more than likely give me more of Chuck Dixon's work, right?
No.
And that's the theory behind spending money on Star Wars and spending money on any of those other, is that you want more of them. Like if I want more fantasy movies, I gotta watch the fantasy movies. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I feel it is.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I went to the library yesterday. Because, you know, it's free. Oh my god! I just found this article about the Acolyte. Like I was actually looking up a name on Comic Vine, and I saw this link. But it talks about how the Acolyte star and creator were surprised the twist didn't leak. Yeah, it did. I knew about the twist weeks ago. Maybe over a month ago. Like, and it's in the first episode anyway. Like, I don't think they understand the point of a twist. So, you know.
Maybe they have a different twist that's coming up. I don't know. Is it all done?
It's not all out, but it's all done. I'm sure as a writer, especially as a white male writer, I'm positive you've probably heard arguments about how you just aren't equipped to write believable female characters or believable characters of color and all this other stuff. You know, I sit there and I keep those criticisms that are just blanket criticisms across the board. They've been happening for I don't know how long. But I've been in plenty of writing classes where they're just like
somebody asked Jack Nicholson how he wrote women characters so well. Do you know what his reply was?
That was in a movie. Oh god, what was that? What was that movie? I mean, I know what the reply was. I can paraphrase it. As good as it gets. That's the movie. Doesn't he say something like, "I think what a rational person would do and do the exact opposite"?
No. That's not the one that I heard. The one that I heard or read, and this was older, so maybe it made its way into As Good as It Gets, was that I write him just like a guy, but dumber.
What? Anyway.
Honestly, though, I haven't seen As Good as It Gets, so...
The blanket criticisms, I think, are not really productive, especially because it's just not true. But I do think it's important to think about believable characters and, you know, understanding that there are differences between people and stereotypes and characters and all kinds of stuff. And overall, being mindful of that, I think, might be it's a useful thing for writers. I think it can make you a better writer just by being mindful of it. But all these people who write stuff like what I've seen in The Acolyte, where all the men are stupid and generally incompetent, it says that's what they believe about men, and B, it says they really don't know how to write men. They just don't. But they instead of taking the criticism and going, we should be mindful of our characters and be mindful of the fact that, you know, it's not like one sex is better than the other, and each of the sexes has different strengths in general, but individuals all have different strengths. And, you know, trying to really think about well-developed, well-rounded characters.
Yeah, well, you know...
What?
Go ahead. No, go ahead, because I'm going to address that in a second.
But all these people just want to do is push the message, and they don't care about writing good characters, and it shows. Like they are not going to improve because either A, they think that men really are just that stupid and incompetent, or B, or just all evil, or B, they really think that they are. Well, what they're doing is more important than just, actually committing to their craft. So that's it. That's my rant.
Well, no, the only thing that I was going to say, and I just didn't want to derail you, was that people screw that one up all the time. So, what it means to write a well-rounded character isn't that, or like a strong character, isn't that it's that they are physically stronger or that they are somehow the leader because they are so well-rounded or whatever. It doesn't mean well-disciplined. It doesn't mean the leader. It means someone who's real, someone who has friends, someone who has enemies, someone who has disappointments, someone who has feelings,
Right, and a personality. They have flaws. They have strengths.
Right, personality. That is the key. Yeah. Like it's a real personality, and I think that what we're getting is there's so many people that want to write well-rounded female characters or whatever that they forget that the other characters have to be strong characters too. Yep. Otherwise, it's the same thing as having cardboard cutouts just for your other characters. So you wrote one strong character. The rest of them are cardboard cutouts. What good does that do you? Right?
Right.
And that's kind of what I was wanting to get at, is that a lot of these people think that they're doing some kind of justice by writing characters like that, but they're really doing, like you were saying, an injustice, because they are not considering any of the other characters. They are just as guilty as what they want to when they want to blame guys that can't write women for the same thing. Why can't a guy write a woman? Because a guy doesn't know what a woman acts like with their friends, because guys treat guys' friends different than girls treat girls' friends, right?
Right.
For one, if two girls are, they are two alike, they will surely hate each other after a while.
Out of focus, by the way. There you go.
Yeah, it's going to keep doing that because I'm, drawing and taking my hand away.
Sorry, I'm just letting you know.
Nope, and me too.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, it's probably going to keep going into focus because it's focusing on my hand when my hand's the closest thing in the picture. And then when I take my hand away, Yeah, so apparently what Oversteer is saying is that this doesn't look like a block party, it looks like the apocalypse. Well, the only thing I can see that with is this one.
Yeah.
But all the rest of them, they look like they're doing something, partying, smiling. Yeah.
It's also going to have captions.
Right, that will help.
Me and my slimes. What's up, little homie slime?
What?
Me and my slimes has arrived. Welcome to the Gordox Pub. And it says, what's up, little home slime? I'm assuming that's what WSP is. I'm an old man. Old geezer! Nice of you to come by, me and my slimes. Watch that not really be how it's pronounced. It's like beyond the musclepus or something.
No, you're probably right. Me and my slime.
I'm just saying the all of these.
It says WSP Little Home Slime. Yeah, see? No, you got it spot on.
I'm just saying that I always think about Sean Connery on Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. You know, he's always misreading all those things. They're hilarious. That's what I'm worried about when I read people's names.
And well, as long as they're telling you got it right.
That's always helpful. Makes me feel like I can read.
Right? Which is always helpful when you're a writer.
What?
Well, I just realized that it's pretty singularly ethnic.
Because secretly you're a racist.
You're racist.
Uh,
Watch as I turn this middle guy in dead center.
it's a token.
See now who's a racist?
I just figured you hadn't colored things in yet.
Well, yeah, but this is a long-haired guy. He could be Hispanic.
Okay.
He pretty much now straight nose, so that doesn't work like that. But this kid's a white kid. He's so obviously a white kid, I can't even pretend it's not anything else.
Hey, Rich.
He looks like somebody, so like, you know, she might be Asian.
So, me and my slimes said, bro with the arm tattoos, which I'm assuming means you.
You have arm tattoos, don't you?
What? Never. Never. Tattoos are bad. I would never do that. Anyway, bro with the arm tattoos, I've always wanted to get some, but I'm scared. I'm going to regret it. Do you ever regret yours? Especially as Rich used to be a tattoo artist. In fact, he still is a tattoo artist.
Yes, I actually do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, some of these are in the process of being covered up. So, I mean, some of them, they were done in a time when you didn't have a whole lot of portrait artists and real good artists. They were...
Yeah, but you don't regret necessarily having tattoos on your arms. You just...
Well,
the art might have been...
the question is pretty, like, if I regret it, I regret some of these tattoos because, like, some of these are cover-ups, and I would have, like, this doesn't look like what I would. Oh, you can't even see it.
Nope, can't
This
see it.
doesn't even look like what it would have if it would have been nowadays, because they're supposed to be werewolves, and that's supposed to be a vampire, not a just naked chick, and the smoke is actually supposed to be coming out of this pipe and then going around covering her exposed spots. And it didn't. So do I regret? Yeah, I mean, I regret a little bit. But it's a different time now than it was when I got them.
But
I'm
you would
one
get
of the ones.
tattoos on
I'm
your
one of the ones that helped change some of it, so
I'm just saying you would still get tattoos on your arm. You just wish you had gotten different pieces.
right. So the regret is what I ended up with, which is that's what he's talking about. Like, he may not be talking about it for the same reason, but he's, or she is talking about the fact that you regret what you got. Well, I do regret what I got, but I only regret what I got because it didn't turn out to be the quality that I could have gotten if I'd have waited a little bit or had the money to go to a better artist, or did my research, my due diligence or whatever, like that's stuff that would change it quite a bit. So
I think it depends on how old you are, what profession you're in, where you live.
I don't know. Like, a lot of people I know that they got tattooed, they don't regret getting tattooed. Like, I didn't regret getting tattooed. I regret not getting what I really wanted out of the tattoos.
I'm saying that some tattoos, even today, in certain fields, they're job stoppers. And
I've seen so many people, ridiculous amount of professional people that have piercings all through their face and tattoos all over the damn place, on their necks, on their faces, on their eyebrows. So I don't necessarily buy that would stop it, unless it's a very, very rare profession that would make it a no-go.
Oh, I think it depends on where you live.
Well, there's that. I mean, you're not going to live in the Bible Belt probably and have tattoos all over your face and be an executive, but
I knew a girl who wanted to visit Japan, and there were places in Japan. She's like, if you have a tattoo, they won't let you in. And like these different like bathhouses that she wanted to go to. I was like, all right, whatever. But it's like, I don't really care. I mean, I don't plan on going to Japan bathhouses or wherever she was going. Maybe it was a temple. I don't know. It's been a few years since this conversation came up. But,
well, in Japan, remember, it was a stigma that if you were tattooed, you were Yakuza or, criminal.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean, you had to get tattooed to be part of that criminal element. So that's a little bit different, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, that's the same but different as what I was saying about the Bible Belt. Like I know people that are tattooed in pretty much in all professions. Like when I was tattooing early on, a friend of mine that I tattooed with and for a while, he had a client that was a multi-million-dollar businessman, but he kept his tattoos like around his waist, so you really wouldn't have seen them
Right.
unless he was, taking his shirt off or whatever. So,
Well, me and my slime said, my only two jobs I'd ever want are, I'm assuming Major League Baseball or underwater pipe welding for preferable oil rigs, so won't have much effect on the job. You're right. If you're going to be a welder or a sports person, you're probably not going to have to worry about it.
not too much, probably not too much.
Yeah, especially not the welding, especially. They don't care. You're going to be covered with stuff
Well,
anyway.
sports person too, like hell in WWE, they were like for a while they had to have a tattoo.
Huh. I remember seeing an illustration that I kind of thought was funny because it showed like tattoos from like where people used to get tattoos, and it was all stuff that could be covered up versus, and then they're showing now, and it was like the tattoos have to be everywhere that can be seen. And
So, go ahead.
that was funny.
I would advise as a tattoo artist that you don't get them on your face, you don't get them on your neck. Like, yeah, you can, and you probably could get away with it, but the more you do, the more people are going to look at you funny. And you will, after a while, you're going to feel people looking at you with disrespect or disgust, and that's something that it's cool for a while while you're playing the badass.
Yeah.
But after a while, something like that, you get tired of that shit too. You don't want people looking down at you all the time, and sometimes.
Just recently seen a post on Facebook about some guy who he looks like a biker and all this stuff, and the mom of this little girl was like, "Oh, we don't talk to people like that." All this big like, and he's talking about how he would be the first one around to run into a building burning to pull your daughter out and save her and all this. I'm like, yeah, but you chose the look. Like, I've had handlebar mustache and shaved head, and I'm a bigger guy, and I look kind of intimidating, and I think I got some attitude for it. And I was like, and one day I realized, part of the reason I'm getting this attitude is because the way I've chosen to present myself.
Well, that's exactly it. You're making a choice, but it's going to hang out longer than you thought.
Yeah, I can grow my beard out however I want. Tattoo removal is a tad bit more expensive. Yeah, it was great talking, but I got to go. Have a great rest of the night or day. Thank you for stopping by and commenting, by the way. Really do appreciate it. Hope you liked, followed, whatever. Press all the doodads.
Yeah, that's it. It's a valid question. Like, I do regret some of the stuff that I've gotten, but it's like I said, mostly it's quality, because when I got stuff and when I thought I was going to get and what I got were not the same,
Okay.
So that kind of makes it a little bit different.
Adam Gehring, yo. Welcome to the Gordox Pub.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
I haven't been saying welcome as much as I should.
That's because you're drunk. If you were me, I'd have my tongue sticking out the side of my mouth. Because that's who I am. Adam, we are drawing an interior panel for graphic novel that we have done some of the layout for and some of the scripting for a character called Mastiff. And it is a sci-fi story. That's as far as I'm going to put it right now. And this is the opening scene, kind of a rave, a street party, that type of thing. And it's it gets dark pretty quickly. Let's put it that way. This is the first book. We are actually trying to do all of the actual work on stream. We are trying to. We've talked about this stuff, the plot. And we have an outline and whatnot. But our thought was do this our first one all on stream. Hopefully, people can see it. They can see how it's made, all that kind of stuff. And then. If they want to buy it when we're done, if we can produce it, awesome. And if that goes well, maybe a Kickstarter for the second one.
Indiegogo. Not Kickstarter. Not Kickstarter. Kickstarter is too political. Indiegogo is political enough.
Okay.
We don't want politics to interrupt what we're doing. In any way, shape, or form. It's not for politics. It's for our enjoyment and escapism. And, we're doing this online so that people can see what we put into it. People can see that it's not as easy as it sounds like. And people can have a little bit of input if they want to, like if they don't like something, or it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to change it because somebody doesn't like it, but if they have good suggestions and good input, we're definitely going to consider that. I realized somewhere around the time that I made sure that he was ethnic,
Yeah.
that I had to make his head really big to show that. So I had to change the size of pretty much everything else on him. But that doesn't hurt my feelings because
you have links to all the music and
I have links to like this group and the license that I got to use with, and I have links to the other group because we have like a metal sounding music too.
yeah, I just picked this one tonight.
I tend to like to pick this one, but I think that's mostly because I like that fantasy sound and it's non-committal.
Thanks, Adam. Adam said he said he missed the top of the feed, where I was posting stuff about, what is Rich drawing? Bad guesses only. Adam said that you're drawing a high school rave where they just ran out of food and the DJ never showed up.
Well, that's better than everybody dying. And it's closer towards what we want to accomplish with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. This little guy is probably young for high school. Maybe he's Doogie Howser.
Adam said he loves the character faces and expressions.
Thank you. That's something I've actually been trying hard to get some separation on. This guy does still look like he's crying out a warning, but
Did we ever make any decision on color? Black, white, grayscale?
We made the decision that we were going to do grayscale, except for when we're doing it in red scale.
Okay.
So monochromatic grayscale until it's monochromatic red.
So, on the pages that I gave you last time, pages 6 and 7, there were a couple panels I had set up so it's like behind his mask. I don't know if those are the ones you want to do red or not. That's up to you, but it was definitely something I thought about. You read The Dark Tower, right?
I read some of the Dark Tower.
Okay.
Not very much, because I wasn't as impressed with the...
That's fine.
Wasn't impressed with the drawing of the tree, actually, so...
The drawing of the tree is not my favorite either.
My wife loved it. I loved the gunslinger, and I was going to be into it. Then I read the drawing of the tree, and at the beginning of it, I'm like, wait a minute. How is he the gunslinger anymore?
Adam also said that he read some of The Dark Tower. I had a thought about it today, though. Because I was watching an interview of the woman who is in charge of the acolyte and then the main actress. And they were talking about how the Jedi system seems to be very patriarchal or something. And it was kind of neat to see something through a more matriarchal lens. Which I'm like, okay.
So it's the same thing except for you switch out guy for girl.
Yeah. So when they're talking about some of this stuff, it made me think of Stephen King's Dark Tower, because they have that heavy patriarchy influence. That whole, you forgot the face of your father. It's not the face of your parents or your mother. It's you have forgotten. The worst insult to a gunslinger is you have forgotten the face of your father. And I kind of wonder if that's not something that makes it harder for anyone in Hollywood to want to touch. Even though it is Stephen King. And even though I don't think you can do it in a movie. I think
he wouldn't mind them changing it anyway.
Well, that's true.
He's already said that. He doesn't care about any of the political changes.
Well, he never has. He's always said that, the books, the books. And that's kind of how he feels about most of his movies. But I think the movie that they did release, which was okay, they rushed a whole bunch of stuff and they crammed it all in, and whatever. But ultimately, it was okay. But yeah, when they made, that was my biggest problem with the movie. Really was Idris Elba, who was a great actor, and I like him. And I even liked him in the role. But that changes how Susanna
was he rolling?
Yeah, in the movie he was rolling.
And in the book he was like 12?
No, rolling.
In the first one he was pretty young.
Roland's only young in flashbacks. At the beginning of the book, he's walking. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. That's Roland.
But Roland left as a kid with guns. It's not worth arguing over for me, but it's been a long time, and I felt he was too old for the role. But
okay, well, because later on they talk about he's older in the books. He's the oldest in his quartet that he eventually makes, and he's old. He's an old man. Like his hips are starting to bother him. By the end of the book, it's end of the series. It's clear he is an older man. But
okay, well, there's a lot of stuff that takes place, right?
Yeah, but there's the character, the Susanna. The Denna Walker character, I guess, is what I think that's her persona was in the books. She hates white people, hates them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, she also hated Roland at first, and yet, how's that going to work? So, I mean, Idris Elba is a great actor. I know. The idea that a bloodline could run from King Arthur through the collapse of an entire world, basically, and remain singularly ethnic seems kind of strange. So the idea that, Roland could have ended up being black, I don't care. I mean, I know the character is originally based on Clint Eastwood, but Clint Eastwood was too old for the role at that point.
Oh yes, and he was not politically Stephen King's favorite by the time they made the movie.
Yeah. But I've always kind of thought some of that was, like the whole that character was kind of pretty complex. And the fact that she was a racist through and through was an interesting concept. And I never liked the character. I don't think you're supposed to, not Denna. But that actually wasn't why I didn't like her in the books. Because if you think having your fingers cut off is bad, he still had most of his hand, whereas Denna doesn't have legs below the knees. It's like that's just not, there's no way. I've always kind of thought that was an unforced error in the plotting, or lack thereof. Dude's 94 now. Talking about Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Hey, Adam wants to know how you came up with the Gourd Ox naming of the channel. Because that's all you.
You know the story, though.
I only know sort of.
Really? It's a double entendre. It's pretty simple. So, Brett and I, and there's another one of us, actually two more of us, that are in a writing group. And we talked about making our own publication. And because we're pretty much all fantasy writers of a sort, we thought the Gourd Ox Pub could be a double entendre, like a publication and like a pub that you would visit in a fantasy realm. That's where it came from. Pretty simple.
So what's the Gourd Ox part from?
It's just a fantasy sounding name. It was just something off the cuff. And ironically, it's been very hard to find examples of a gourd ox, because usually it's bulls that do the goring. So that's why we haven't really got an image-based cavern sign. Because it's just been not easy to...
He was going to guess it came from a D&D campaign.
Well, I mean, no, but it's similar enough that
it works.
It's reasonable to think that, because that's exactly what we're trying to invoke. D&D had the green dragon, right?
Oh, I don't remember.
They had like a green dragon in every city and something like that in from Greyhawk on, I thought. Of course, it's been years and years since I played that too, but it was, it was kind of that thought put together with the idea that we were going to publish an anthology, right?
Right. So Adam said, I have a question regarding movies and D&D Have you two seen the latest D&D movie?
Of course.
Yes, I believe we both have. With what's that guy's name?
Chris
played the
Pyle? Chris Pyle? Is it Pyle? Chris something. I don't know. His dad was the sergeant on Chips. Pine. Chris Pine.
Fine. There we go. Oh, so funny.
And Michelle Rodriguez, and that's pretty much the only memorable ones
Yeah.
for me.
So is that your question, Adam, or was that just the preface question to see if we had the background knowledge that we might be able to answer the question? All right.
Question is, what do we think of it, right?
It's longer. In the arena, at the end of the 1980s cartoon, characters were in the arena died. Does that mean, as far as D&D canon is concerned, those 80s characters are now actually dead in that canon?
Did they die? I thought they didn't die. Weren't they in a cube? I own it. I have to watch it again. Damn it! I didn't want to, but
Yeah, I didn't think they were dead at the end of the 80s
yeah,
cartoon.
I didn't think so. Maybe something happened that could be interpreted either way.
Now, I know there was a cameo of them in the film.
Yeah, they were like next to that slime cube in a prison cell or a cell, right?
They were on that arena thing.
Yeah, but they showed them twice. They showed them after. They showed them in the arena, and then they showed them in a, I want to say, in a cell. But yeah, like I said, so I didn't think it was that great of a movie. If you couldn't tell by my reaction. So that yes helps explain why.
Okay, so I just Googled this because, yeah. It said, we don't kill them off. Goldstein says, the last we see in the movie, they're safely in the cage of Sanctuary, and they've escaped from the Displacer Beast.
So I thought they were in a cage. Holy crap, I was right this time.
Hey, it's got to happen eventually.
Right, like a clock. Like a clock.
That was probably my favorite part of that entire film was
Cameo.
Yeah, and I saw it briefly in the trailer. I was like, oh, like that was just for me. I was just shocked, and that's
Yeah,
fancy.
I gotta admit, I was surprised to see them, and then I was like, yeah, that's all right. I wasn't. Yeah, my favorite character on the cartoon was Venger. So
That was an amazing series, and I was always. I wish they had done more with it, to be honest.
well, it was a cartoon. They couldn't do much more with it.
Have you ever seen the they've made like storyboards for the last episode that never aired, and like Venger is you find out Venger is the Dungeon Master's son.
Mm.
yeah, I've seen the storyboard. Like you can look it up on YouTube. I know you can, but it's actually kind of a sad ending because you find out that Venger was Dungeon Master's son, and that the Dungeon Master still cares about him, and he's trying to get his son back, basically. It's like, oh, it's really kind of sad.
Actually, it's kind of disgusting.
Well, I think it
For a dungeon master to produce a child with like half a horn, red eyes, and fangs and shit, what was he sleeping with?
I think it has something actually to do with like his son starts studying magic, and that kind of changes him. But it's just a
So magic makes you horny.
that's a special kind of magic. It's a kind of magic. That's what Queen was singing about all those years ago.
Yeah, that's a different kind of magic yet. And a different kind of horn. That's man horn.
Like
Human horn.
Dark side.
So I don't think I can do anything ethnic looking at this size that's not a stereotype.
I think the DM character was a bit of a Yoda ripoff.
A what?
Adam said, I always thought the DM character design was a bit of a Yoda ripoff, and I agree. Although one might say that Yogurt was a bit of a Dungeon Master ripoff. So there. And for those of you who don't know, Yogurt was the character from Spaceballs.
Was the Yoda mock Yoda? The Yoda mock-up.
Yeah. You understood that the secret was merchandising.
Well, you know why though?
Because that's how Star Wars really made its money.
Well, Mel Brooks asked permission to do Spaceballs from George Lucas, and George Lucas only had one stipulation.
That was about the Han Solo outfit.
Nope. The stipulation was you can't merchandise for toys and stuff.
He also said he didn't want whoever the main protagonist is. Buck Lone Star, is that his name? Something like that?
Lone Star, anyway.
He wasn't allowed to look like Han Solo. So Mel Brooks agreed to that and then made him look like Indiana Jones.
Oh, the interview that I was watching, they said that the only thing that he stipulated was that you couldn't sell merchandise. So that's why they did that on the Spaceballs, the lunchbox, Spaceballs, the toilet paper. They did that as a gag because they weren't going to be merchandising.
That movie was hilarious.
Huh?
That movie's hilarious.
It's funny. I have mixed feelings on it. Some scenes are funny. Some scenes are really dumb.
That is true.
I really like that they had Michael Winslow make a guest appearance.
Yeah.
They lost. What? They lost the rights.
I believe that he's talking about the original Star Wars.
Yeah. That was Lucas's deal.
Yeah.
You should be on camera too, by the way.
Well, I was letting people see your picture for more than me.
Well,
I've been on camera, man.
I think people like to see that there's somebody talking, instead of just hearing somebody talking.
I talk.
I'm the dude with the arm tattoos. So, like, you have to be the dude with the face.
I'm the dude with the face. Oh, God. Oh, that's beautiful. That's my name now on the screen. The dude with the face.
Now, I was going to do this dude wearing a face mask. Kind of a little dig there.
Yeah.
But now that I'm kind of making him Japanese, it's like a stereotype ninja thing now, so I can't do it.
Adam, we normally stream anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Usually 2.5 to 3 most of the time.
Okay, well, I was just kind of given the range.
Right, but the more accurate range is like 3.5, right? Because I
something
think
like that.
I think that's our most common numbers.
In about 12 minutes, though, it'll be midnight, and I think, at least for me, I gotta go. Because while I don't have to get up in the morning, my wife does. Oh, the banter is entertaining, Rich.
What?
Adam said the banter is entertaining. So thank you.
Because the rest of it's boring as hell.
It's one of those things. Again, there are plenty of people that do art and it's ASMR stuff. And all right, like my wife watches.
I'm just saying, like I'm not, I'm just saying this is It'd be boring if there wasn't any banter.
Well, my wife watches a guy who he fixes paintings, right? Like if it's old and had a hole in it or something, or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
I've
And
seen. There's a show, Repair Shop. You ever seen that?
no,
It's I think you can find it on Netflix, but it's like an English repair shop. Sometimes they repair dolls, sometimes they repair clocks. They've got specialists for all that stuff, paintings, porcelain.
well, this guy that my wife watches just does paintings, and she's never going to fix a paint. Well, I don't think she's ever going to fix a painting. I've done more fixing of paintings than she has, and
Now she's gonna fix a painting just because.
I know, just to spite me, just be like, "Haha, I showed you." That'll be okay. I think the biggest thing I've ever done, you know, those pencil drawings that, like, I've seen them done at like Chuck E. Cheese, actually, where they just go through and the machine uses basically, just prints it off, but it's pencil. A friend of mine had one of those, and something happened, and there was a big scratch right down the center of his face. And I was like, well, I think I could fix that. Like, it's not that big of a problem. And I was like, I might ruin it, but I think I can fix it. So his parents were like, we don't care. So I fixed it for him. But that was the guy that my wife watches. I mean, he's like fixing holes in canvas. He's going through and fixing the paints. I mean, it's crazy the stuff he goes through, but she finds it calming, relaxing, and I'm like,
I actually do too. Like I'll watch somebody, take a gun that's rusty they've found and clean it up and make it work, or take an old axe and pit it and stuff and then make it into a nice shiny new axe. Or I like to watch the guys build lean-tos and cabins and stuff like that too. So I mean, that's relaxing for me too. So I can see that.
And when you were first starting this channel, Rich, back when it was you and Joe, there were several times I told you I would have you guys on because I could hear you drawing, and even when you guys weren't talking much, I was like, this gets me, like, this helps me focus. So it worked for me.
Yeah, I'm happy if it helps people focus or they enjoy just watching it, but I could also understand, like, I've had somebody say, it's pretty boring just watching you draw.
Well, yeah, that's...
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things where you can't be everything to everyone. And I think YouTube, to some extent, and Twitter, Instagram, and everything else, has worked really hard at shortening our attention spans. So
I agree.
Long form like this is not necessarily fun, but a dude with the face, no. I am currently only on here. I wrote this. I'm writing the script, I guess. Rich is drawing the artwork. So we, do I stream? I'm on here normally every time with Rich, but I don't have my own thing.
Yeah, he's my co-host. And pretty much, I need a co-host because it's boring as hell. Someone to banter with.
But the thought is, at least in my mind, has always been eventually, if the comic book works out, if the graphic novel works out, this is going to be a well documented construction of it. And if people become fans of the graphic novel, they're going to want to watch how it was made. So, I mean, Adam, you're right. It is. I mean, yeah, I'm the co-host, but I don't stream on my own. At least not yet. I think I'm going to have a very short-lived channel just so I can play around with some tech stuff, and then once that's done, just apply it to this and be good. Or maybe I'll keep a channel. I don't know. But I don't need one right now.
Right? Whenever I'll support your channel as well as you supported mine. So
Oh, I know.
if you feel like doing something. Actually, you had a channel and I followed you, but you just didn't really do anything on it.
That's because my partner in crime quickly got over that. After I poured all that money into it, because that was not cheap, but it was a good experience, and I enjoyed the time I got to spend doing it, because it was my son. But he quickly got bored of it. Also, those puppets were a beast of work. Like, we quickly learned that it's harder than what it looks like.
Yeah. That's a lesson I'm learning too. Well, I actually knew it was ahead of time, but I'm determined to do it because not only, to show everybody that it can be done by anybody that's persevering enough, but also I like the idea that people can watch and get inspired to do something. So hopefully that's what's happening here is that. So like, on YouTube, you can do a search for mentions where you're mentioned. And there are people that we've mentioned that started talking about doing drawing and teaching little bits of drawing mechanics for comic books, like Comicsgate Kings and stuff like that. Since we've talked about it and since we've been, trying to do this, it hasn't amounted to much besides talk because I think most of the other guys, they either do graybeards and they draw then, or they don't really want to give away their secrets for free. Like, for me, I'm perfectly willing to learn and make mistakes and
fight.
Well, I mean, learn and make mistakes and push on.
Yeah.
And not quit. And that's such an important thing nowadays, is because everybody does have a habit of quitting too easily.
Speaking of quitting.
Yeah, I know it's that time too, but I have gotta touch this because it's not. It's crooked.
Oh,
Well, I think this guy did become Mexican or some kind of Hispanic. He was a little long in the face.
he's a horse.
All right, I think that's the first panel as far as penciling goes.
Sweet.
Everything else is pretty small in the background. It's just a matter of cleaning it up.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna call that a night.
All right.
And look, 3 hours and 45 minutes. So yeah, right between what you said and what I said, right? So this
Yep.
is one of the longer episodes. Sounds like this is partly your own thing. If you are the writer, that's a great combo thing. Well, yeah, like I asked him to join and help because like we're both writers, but I value his writing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Feel free to tag along every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for tonight. Thank you all for stopping by, talking, liking, subscribing, following, whatever, or not. Letting us know if you like the content. Yeah, so good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace.